Hi guys, welcome to Save a Parrot, also known as Parrot Playhouse. My name is April. This is Victoria Huffman from Animal Alliance of San Diego. And we want to do a follow-up on Oscar, whose name has been changed to Liberty.
Because he's free now.
Because he's free now. And he was the cockatoo that, do you want to explain it to them?
Yeah, San Diego Humane Society contacted me by text saying they'd just gotten in a cockatoo that was petrified and hissing. They couldn't get him out of his cage because he was so fearful, which was very understandable. They did the humane thing of not forcing him and not stressing him more.
Baby, we're gonna get you out, okay? You're coming out. You're gonna get out soon. Tomorrow's your Freedom Day. Yeah, it is. It is. It is, sweetheart. It is.
And they contacted me the day after he came in, asking me if I could help because they knew I had cockatoos and I'd rescued several locally, and a lot of avian rescues, local ones can't or don't take cockatoos. So I got special permission to come in and bring April with me to visit him, even though it is COVID time. And they told me, or at least the field officer who brought him in, he was an owner relinquishment in the field, which means an officer goes out to get him. His owner had died in March, and the officer went out. Apparently the bird had bit his leg, and the daughter said she didn't have money for vet treatment. Officer gets out there, and his cage, which was 24 inches by 24 inches and heavily rusted, was padlocked. And the daughter said he had been padlocked in there for years and he hadn't been handled for 30 years. And so April and I came and got him, hoping to give him a new life here, a new life of freedom, and that's why I named him Liberty. And then yesterday the vet calls. There was terrible news, which I still just can't get over. He's come back positive for Beak and Feather Disease, which is the most insidious, horrible disease known in the avian world to cockatoos and other old world birds. There is no cure. Poor Liberty, I wanted this to be his chance. I wanted this to be his freedom. And he appears so happy in that room to have his freedom to be out of his cage. And you know what? He hardly ever goes in that cage. He's probably afraid that someone's going to lock him in there again for years. Well, that's not going to happen here. Not if I have anything to do with it. And once a bird starts showing clinical signs, they normally die within 6 months to a year, is what I read last night when I started doing researching this. I just didn't know this was coming, and actually the vet didn't either because his plumage looks so great. He looks so healthy. And the vet said, look, he's 35 years old. The vet thought he was 35. And he said, and he didn't think this was the case. And when he calls me, the first thing he says is, I have some interesting news for you. And then he told me, and I was just floored.
How was that interesting news?
I don't know. But I was just devastated because of the implications of this.
I'm done. You're a good boy.
To Liberty, to my birds here, and to me and my lifestyle here, it's just awful.
One phone call, literally one phone call, has just changed everything. She called me yesterday and she was so upset.
I know. Beak and Feather Disease is highly contagious to other birds, especially cockatoos. It's transmitted. One major way it's transmitted is on feather dust, and cockatoos are very dusty birds. I have him in a quarantine room, which is a back bedroom in my house. I have tried to be very careful coming in and out of that and not contaminating anything.
Changing her clothes, and I brought her a hazmat outfit.
I know, but now that I know he's positive, I have this terrible anxiety of bringing this feather dust back into where I have my 2 cockatoos, because I could kill them.
Anytime you go into a pet shop, you are risking this, because this disease lies in pet shops. It's not just birds that you rescue. Like, people are bringing their birds in and out of pet shops. They're holding their birds. They're touching things.
You're so cute. Look at you. Oh my goodness. Hi. Hi, sweetheart.
And when you're around birds, you need to take those precautions at all times. So whether you purchase a bird for $20,000 or you adopt a bird, this is a risk that you take, and you have to be very careful. That's why blood work, quarantine is always important, whether you rescue or you choose to buy a bird. When I go in for a rescue, I treat the bird like they've got this disease, and this is the first time I've ever encountered this. I changed my outfit outside. I took a shower outside, so you have to be really careful. My shoes, everything went in a trash bag, and I don't keep the same clothes once I do a rescue like this.
So I called another avian vet this morning. I initially thought I had an appointment with him, but when they called to confirm, they told me there was another vet that I was going to see. So I made a rush appointment with another avian vet altogether, who actually did the initial exam and the avian, Beak and Feather Disease testing. This other vet, I'm going to take him back and we're going to retest. The test, the laboratory that his test was sent out to, this test in general is called a PCR test, is considered highly, highly accurate. But because of the conditions he's in, and my worry, and also my concern about leaving him back there, he can't come out of quarantine. I'm worried about infecting my birds. I'm going to take him back to this new avian vet on Monday, and we're going to retest in the slim chance that his initial test was incorrect. There's not much hope of that, but we have to try, because I don't want to sit here and worry, and I don't want to have him sit back in the quarantine room forever. Although, even if he comes back and tests negative, the avian vet said he would want to test him again in like 60 days to make sure that that's the case. So bottom line, poor Liberty is going to be back in quarantine for a long time. And I'm going to be stressing that entire time too. So we're taking him back on Monday, and we'll have updates on what happens there.
Definitely going to have to find that perfect place for him. Somebody that does not have other birds, that has really incredible cockatoo experience, or somebody that has a bird that is positive for this.
Yeah.
That would take in another bird, or if there is a sanctuary out there that handles this sort of thing. But whatever it is, we have to make sure that he is going to be happy there and love his life.
And I was especially devastated to learn this too, for another reason. Back 30 years ago, my first parrot was a Moluccan cockatoo. And I took him in because he had Beak and Feather Disease, and he had nowhere else to go, and I didn't have any other birds. And now I have another Moluccan, and he has Beak and Feather Disease, or at least he's tested positive. So history repeats itself. And I remember how loving that first bird was, and I grieved so much about him, and now I'm going through it again with Liberty. Both Moluccan cockatoos.
Hi.
I'm so sorry. These birds have nowhere to go.
Nowhere to
And
go.
I wish I could provide that home for him, but I have other flock members, and I can't risk their lives.
Victoria mostly rescued dogs, but she would be in these shelters, seeing all these cockatoos, and she just started pulling one and then another, and just these horrible cases, because all the rescues, most of them are full. The sanctuaries are full, and if they're not, many will not take cockatoos because they are wild animals, and they are so hard to keep happy and healthy in captivity. You know, that's like bringing a chimpanzee into your home. You know, it's hard to make that work successfully. I mean, some people do, but the average cannot commit to this. This is a huge responsibility.
I know, but I have to help save Liberty.
Yeah. And that's what you're gonna do, and it's gonna be really expensive, but it's like, you know what, that's what the bird community, you guys, we're gonna have to fundraise. We want to do everything right here. We want Liberty to have that life he deserves. We want to keep all these other birds safe, and I would love to see a happy ending if possible.
I know, and you know, with his testing, if I'm going to have to test and then retest, and the doctor said get serology to see if there are antibodies in his blood. So it's not going to be cheap, but he's very well worth it. You know, I can't just turn my back on him.
No.
I can't.
He's so worth it, you guys. He's
He
so
is.
amazing.
He's so beautiful, and he's had a terrible life before.
Thank you for not giving up on him.
Thank you. How could I? He's so beautiful and so
A lot of people would, though. This is commitment to the fullest.